Welcome to Jurassic Park, where Universal has spared no expense to bring you a brand new coaster. Hold on to your butts because we're gonna check it out today. Now you're not gonna see Nikki very long today. Nope. Because she's gonna go have fun as I take you around the whole park, showing you this roller coaster and dropping some fancy terms. Terms I just learned. I'm no roller coaster expert, but I've been studying up, and I'm gonna do my best to relay what I've learned to you guys about this new Jurassic Park roller coaster. Bye, Nikki.
As he's doing that, I'm gonna go have fun.
Yeah.
See ya.
I'm doing all the work today. As we take a look at the Jurassic roller coaster from the lagoon here, across the way from the US zone where you can have your face mask off, I should note that Universal has not made an official announcement about this project, but it is expected to be named the Velocicoaster. Well, kind of, sort of, maybe. Well, at least Universal has applied for a trademark on that name. Who knows if it will actually end up being the Velocicoaster. But one thing is for sure with this coaster, you will need to hold on to your butts because this will be a new multi-launch coaster, and it is expected to reach speeds of up to 70 miles per hour and will feature multiple inversions and perhaps be the most intense coaster in the history of Universal Studios. As I mentioned earlier, I am no coaster expert. I'm sure a lot of you watching this are way smarter than me knowing about roller coasters, but since they are building this new Jurassic coaster, this new Velocicoaster, I am making an attempt to learn more about roller coasters. And in fact, I came across a cool website called coasterpedia.net. So a lot of what I'm going to be mentioning today, I got from that website. A lot of the fancy terms, you know, Heartline rolls, barrel rolls, things like that. I'm going to, show you where those are on this coaster and kind of explain what those really are. So let's go ahead and start making our loop around the park, showing you this Velocicoaster. Actually, before we leave the U-Rest area here, let's take one last look from this vantage point from across the lagoon of the Jurassic coaster, and we can see several of the elements we're going to refer to today, such as the top hat, the Heartline roll, the 540 degree helix with a 0G stall. We're going to walk all around this water here, taking a closer look at those elements, and I will attempt to relay what I learned from Coasterpedia to you guys. One of the best spots to see the coaster being constructed is behind Me Ship the Olive, which is located by Popeyes and Bluto's barges, but I'm a bit early. It doesn't open till 11, so I gotta just move on down the road and show you something else till this opens. You have to learn to pivot when you're making a video, and we're pivoting right now. You know what, it's probably actually better that we start over here because this is kind of near the start of the coaster anyway. You're gonna load near here, and then after you load onto the coaster, there's this first like show building. I'm sure there's gonna be some type of interactive thing, either via LED screens or maybe some live actors with the raptors. Most likely something that would be on a screen, though, I would think. A little pre-show area right here. After the little pre-show, I'm sure something's going to scare us and cause the coaster to launch out of this area. And after this first launch, you're going to go into an Immelmann feature, which is an inversion named after an aircraft maneuver used by WW1 pilots. The inversion begins with the first half loop of a vertical loop. As the top of the loop is approached, the train is fully inverted. The train then continues heading away from the half loop as it becomes right side up. Thus, the inversion is exited in the opposite direction to which it is entered. So that is what is called an Immelmann, and that's the first major, after the launch, the first major feature of this roller coaster. After the Immelmann, the next big feature will be a dive loop, which is basically an Immelmann traveled in reverse. The dive loop inspiration was taken from a stunt plane maneuver. The track twists upwards and to the side and then dives towards the ground in a half vertical loop. I had no idea a lot of these coaster things or features were taken from actual like plane maneuvers. That's pretty cool. And also from this vantage point, we can see the rock sculpture taking place. At first I thought maybe this was going to be a dinosaur, but it's clearly going to be a rock sculpture, and I bet you it's going to match the rock that is in Camp Jurassic and the rock that's right here by the river adventure. So even though what I thought was going to be a dinosaur is not the case, I do anticipate some type of, maybe they'll have some large animatronics in this ride, like you do at Hagrid's. Maybe at some point you will drive by or fly by some animatronic dinosaurs, or at very least some statuesque dinosaurs. Okay, now we can go back to Popeyes and show you what the coaster looked like from that angle. Occasionally they do have to close this bridge by Ripsaw Falls for construction vehicles big and small. And here's some stuff getting moved in to get us one step closer to getting this baby constructed. And look who has found me. Apparently I am the most entertaining thing in the park today. You've got all the options of things to do, but watching me film a coaster and talk about a coaster is what you really want to do right now?
Yeah, I don't mind hanging out with you. You're my best buddy.
Okay, I'll try to entertain you.
No.
Well, as you can see, we have made it back here behind Popeyes and Bluto's barges, behind Me Ship the Olive. I do want to mention the prevailing talk is that this coaster will be ready by the summer of 2021, but at least one team member I have spoken to says maybe as early as spring of 2021. The quicker the better, as far as I'm concerned. Now, we don't yet know what the ride vehicle will look like, but it is widely believed it will be a lap bar restraint, nothing over your shoulders. And early on, when they first started working on this coaster, it was floated to me that the ride vehicle could be themed around motorcycles or ATVs. And as far as I can tell, I am the only one saying this, so I am a bit worried about it being right. Even if the ride vehicle is not themed to motorcycles, I feel like it can't look like just a regular coaster. It's very possible that the backstory to this coaster could be related to the motorcycle chase scene in the first Jurassic World movie. Therefore, it would make sense if you have to get on a motorcycle or in an ATV to join in this raptor hunt. But that's just one man's opinion. A lot of cool elements of this coaster can be seen from this vantage point. First of which is the top hat. A top hat, sometimes called a top cap, is an element most often used in launch roller coasters. It consists of an ascent at a 90-degree angle, immediately followed by a 90-degree descent in the opposite direction from which the train enters. Often a vertical twist precedes and follows the top hat element. Again, this is all according to coasterpedia.net. Now, how are you going to reach the top of this top hat? Well, immediately preceding it is the second of two launch coasters we're going to have on this roller coaster. Of course, as I mentioned earlier, the first launch is at the start, but the second launch is an underground tunnel that gives you that burst of speed to get you up on top of this top hat. And speaking of the tunnel, I am hoping for some LED screens to offer up some special effects in this tunnel section. That would be pretty cool. And as far as the height, my best guess, 150 feet to maybe 170 feet high. That's my best guess, 150 to 170 feet. Now, here's an element I really need to show you. See this right here? This is one of the elements that people are really geeking out over. It's called a Heartline rollover, and it's over the lagoon in front of the Discovery Center. But right before that Heartline rollover is a little hump that will provide a moment of airtime. Now, you may be wondering, what is a Heartline rollover? Well, this is a roller coaster inversion in which the rider performs a 360-degree roll on one axis. Unlike an inline twist, the elevation of the track changes throughout the inversion to keep the train traveling at the same level. Basically, so that your heart travels in a straight line. So, top hats, Heartlines, which of those elements are you most excited for? Let me know in the comments below. What about you, Nikki?
I think I'm most excited for the Heartline roll versus the top hat. I think the top hat is what's gonna scare the heck out of me.
I can't decide. Sometimes I'm more excited for top hat, sometimes the Heartline. Without a doubt, both are gonna be cool.
Yes, they will be.
All right, let's move along and get to the next section of the track. I'm now back here by the smoking section of the Discovery Center to show you that after the coaster passes behind the Discovery Center for the first time, you're going to go into an upside down stall. Right before you head into the area by the three broomsticks, this is an upside down stall. At least, that's what I think it is. We are now back behind the 3 broomsticks in the patio area, so it's a good time to mention that the builder of this is Immelmann, who also designed the coaster aspects of Hagrid's motorbike. They're also designing this new Jurassic coaster. So there's a lot going on back here that I just learned about. So what we're looking at here is a 540 degree helix with a 0G stall. Now, what is a helix? A helix is a turn of at least 360 degrees, resulting in an upward or downward spiral. Now, continuing, what is a 0G stall? It is a roller coaster inversion that the track rotates 180 degrees while traveling uphill, fully inverting the riders. The track then levels out, and while traveling downwards, the track rotates 180 degrees again, but in the opposite direction. A fairly new roller coaster element is also present here. It's called a wave turn, and this is where the track is constantly banked at an angle of 90 degrees, and it will feel like you're getting pulled out of your seat and then getting pushed into your seat. It is very similar to an airtime hill where the track is constantly banked at an angle of 90 degrees. Also present in all these elements is an S-curve, and that is there to break up the banking feeling. What is an S-curve? This one is pretty easy. It's a turn shaped like an S. Not quite at the end yet, guys. You're almost there though. I want to remind you, click that subscribe button and that bell notification button so you'll know when another video is ready for you to view. One last vantage point to get a good look at this new Velocicoaster, this new Jurassic Park, Jurassic World roller coaster. We can see a lot of the features from here that we've already talked about. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave a link to that website, coasterpedia.net. I know I described everything and defined everything. A lot of times though, it's easier to understand when you read something versus when you hear something. So I will leave a link to that website for you guys that you can study up on your Heartlines, your top hats, your 0G stalls, your wave turns, all those terms that I dropped today. I'm going to study up too. I'm trying to get smarter here as well, guys. So there's your Velocicoaster, Jurassic coaster update. An update with a bunch of fancy new terms. I learned a lot. You did. I did too. I'm still learning. I'm trying to get smarter.
It's all pretty interesting stuff though.
It is.
I mean, I like riding roller coasters, but I never really knew that each turn and banking thing had its own little terminology, so. And
a lot of it's related to like aerial maneuvers.
Yeah, like flights and airplanes and things like that.
Yeah, stunt planes or warplanes, so very cool.
I love it. Yeah, I thought it was really neat.
Nothing wrong with getting a little bit smarter. maybe I'm not a lot smarter, just a little bit. And with all that being said,
don't miss the magic,
don't miss the fun.
Oh!
Don't miss the magic, don't miss the fun.
Hello, new Flicksters. We've got U.S. Storm Shelters moving up to Vice President, the Perez family moving up to Executive Producers, and I would like to welcome 3 new supporters. We have the Delgado family as a supporter, Tyler Johnson as a supporter, and Tara Murphy, another supporter. Thank you guys so much for supporting the channel.